This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish, founder of Abish Financial Services.
A lot of firms out there say they will do tax planning, say they will do Social Security planning and RMD planning, and typically they just do investment management. They want your money.
You've worked hard your whole life to earn and save. Now you need a plan to make that money work hard for you.
Where do you stand today with your retirement accounts, with your insurance, with Social Security, RMDs, taxes, all of it? This is how we need to think. We need to think outside of the box on these matters.
Abe is here to help you unlock the keys to your retirement.
Mr. Abish, the weekend is here. You are coming off a little bit of a little bit of a fall cold. I'm happy to say that you're on the mend.
Yeah, just a little bit of a head cold. You know, this thing's going around like crazy.
I told you because my husband and I were on a trip and we both got off that airplane a couple weeks ago and immediately got sick. You want to talk about a petri dish? I was just sitting in one for 6 hours on a plane.
Yep. So feeling a lot better now, and this is the best time of year. You know, just fall and nice cool weather, and the sports are. You know, we've got the NFL and football, college football, some great college football, and then we've got playoff baseball.
You're just touching all of my nerves today, Abe. Between my Atlanta Braves, I grew up an Atlanta Braves fan. They got eliminated in the postseason. That's right. Okay, I forgot. Braves are out. Postseason. My Virginia Tech Hokies are doing nothing worth talking about on this radio program today. I don't follow the NFL as much. How are the Commanders doing?
Not that great. I basically say everybody else in the division is doing much better than our Washington team. Typical story around here. There's always next season. I feel like I just said this the week before last because I don't know that the season's going to get much better from here. So
I think that's how you and I are talking about sports this fall.
We're looking forward to 2023 season now, but I'll tell you what. I bleed burgundy and gold and will always be a forever fan as much as this team is, so dysfunctional and as much as it's lost the last 20 plus years. I don't know if we'll ever see a Super Bowl again, but
there's always hope.
I think somewhere in my lifetime they'll get back there.
There's always hope. You got to believe.
That's right.
Can't be a fair weathered fan.
That's right.
Hey, speaking of dysfunction and looking for the brighter side of things, shall we talk about your day job and dealing with the financial situation we all find ourselves in?
Let's do it. Absolutely.
So there certainly feels like a lot of dysfunction coming at us from all different angles in the financial world that we're living in, and all of us, of course, looking to find a brighter side. It was interesting, this article that I read talking about how every recession does in fact have a brighter side. And their idea was that we find a new bottom and then we go up from there. But what they don't address, Abe, is how much we lose in these times and how long it takes to get back to even. So is there a better way? And what strategies are you utilizing so that we don't have to be digging our way out all the time?
Look, Heather, there are so many things to be uncertain in the world right now, but your financial future, your retirement plan, your phase 2, and your transition into retirement does not have to be one of them. Even with the losses we've incurred year to date, we can still take control and take action. Look, the average recession lasts around 18 months.
Right.
So if we can all agree that we're in a recession right now, as you know, the definition of a recession is that you have 2 negative quarters of GDP. Right. So our first and second quarter of 2022, we're negative. You know, that by definition means we're in a recession. If we can all agree that we are, and we are now 10 months in, well, if the average recession is 18 months, we got another 8 or 9 months left, potentially more, before this recession is over. And unfortunately, there are 3 stages to a recession typically, and the worst stage, that third stage and part of recession, is typically the worst, which means it's probably going to be in 2023 where we do hit a bottom. I mean, we can speculate all we want, but just using, the averages, looking back at history, it appears that the worst is yet to come. And with that, the average loss in a recession is negative 40%. We're at around negative 25-ish right now. All recessions are different, but those averages, right? The average of 18 months, the average of a negative 40. Do you know how long it takes to recover from those types of losses? It takes a long, stinking time.
Yeah.
If you look back to what we call the lost decade, that was the period of time from the year 2000 to the year 2012, there was zero return in the S&P 500 that 12 years because of the losses in that decade. So the year 2000, the year 2001 and 2002, the S&P loses around almost 50%. 2003, it rebounds. We climb right back up to square one in 2008, where we were in the year 2000. And then everyone knows what happens in 2008. S&P 500 loses about 38%.
Yep.
It takes another 5 years to get back over the values people had in the year 2008. In 2013, in other words.
Wow.
It takes over 12 years to basically start making some money in the S&P and get back over our values. 12 years before, in the year 2000, as we're just about to retire, heading into retirement, we can't lose a decade because we've taken on these huge losses. So as a firm, Heather, we have found that avoiding large loss is perhaps the number one thing a retiree can do if they avoid large losses. In our opinions, negative 20% or more on their portfolios. That's one of the biggest things they can do to secure and protect their retirement and give themselves the best shots of not running out of money over their lifetime.
Okay.
So we just had a couple call in and come into the office from Hagerstown. Now that's about a solid hour, depending on traffic, maybe hour and a half drive. Okay. With the markets the way they are now, we're having people drive in from all over the DC metro, Maryland, Virginia area, sometimes over 2 hours away. Because look, our clients have worked for 30, 40, sometimes 50 years. They're sitting here today with usually $1 million to $5 million, oftentimes a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
And even with the losses they've incurred already year to date, what they don't know until they get in here is that they're still okay, that they can still control their own destiny. So if you've got a couple $1 million and you've just worked 40 years for it, it's worth a drive. It's worth, an hour and a half drive, a 45-minute drive, a 2-hour drive to make sure that you're going to be okay. And so we're noticing that people are driving from further and further away to come in and get these second opinions. Well, this couple was with another huge firm that anyone would recognize if I said their name, and they're down 25% year to date. So they started off with $1 million and they are down to $750,000. And the risk that they were taking on at this big box firm did not match up with the risks that they want to be taking on from here on out as they transition into retirement.
Right.
So they're down negative 25 and they're coming to us because they're starting to panic and really get concerned about how much further this is going to get before it gets better.
Okay.
And we don't want to go down negative 35 or negative 40, Heather, because again, if we look back at history and we look at how long it takes out to dig out of that massive of a hole, it usually takes 3 to 5 years, which means we're just digging, and trying to get all this rebound in the market to get back up to square one and essentially losing time. And our clients don't have time to lose. They're coming to us saying they want to retire next year or within 2 years or by January 1st. That's not 3 to 5 years from now. Sometimes that's months away before someone wants to retire. We don't have the time to recoup these losses. Right. That was their concern. So the solution was quite simple, but comprehensive as well. We offered a plan, Heather, that would help them layer in protection, right? 25%, that's bad enough, down 25%. We don't want to go down 35 or 40. So we put together a comprehensive plan that would basically layer in protections that would put a moat around the castle, if you will, stop the bleeding, limit the bleeding, so that they can actually go to sleep at night and know that they can transition into retirement without losing a ton more. There are ways to do that, numerous ways to do that, even with guaranteed rates out there now. I mean, you could purchase a fixed rate annuity, which is like kind of like a CD that are now paying 3.5%, 4.5%, upwards of 5%. Yes, guaranteed, right? And so obviously the markets aren't guaranteed, but there are now, with interest rates rising, tons of options, annuities, CDs, treasuries, treasury bills, tips, tons of instruments that you can use. We have all the tools available. We have the toolkit and all of the tools available. They need to be put together thoughtfully in a comprehensive plan for you. Don't just follow generic mass advice. Get a customized plan for you.
Abe, keeping on this conversation about market risk and how it can affect us long term, there's a lot we can do to increase the chances that our retirement will be a successful one. But Morningstar's Amy Arnott was talking about one thing that's beyond our control. It's called the sequence of returns risk. And that's basically whether a big market drop takes place in the first few years of retirement as opposed to later.
So if you're retired, you're probably taking withdrawals from your portfolio, which reduces the value. But then if the market is down, that reduces the value even more. So it's sort of a double whammy. And it can also hurt your results because there's not as much value left to rebound when the market recovers.
I think that you touched on this a little bit in our first question here in the first part of this conversation, Abe. How do you handle sequence of returns risks for your clients?
It's affecting anyone right now that's pulling money out of their portfolios, Heather, because the markets are down. And as you said,
it's a double whammy,
sequence risk is that double whammy, that double potential negative where if and when the markets are down as they are right now, if you're also pulling money out of your portfolios at the same time, you've got two losses going on. It makes the hole even bigger. It makes it that much harder to climb out of that loss hole that you have to get back up to square one. And so we want to try to avoid or eliminate sequence risk on a portion of your portfolio. And I would say we want to eliminate that and substantially reduce it on the piece of your portfolio that you may need for income in retirement. And if you need income from your portfolio in the next 5 years, you're transitioning, and many people do, that money should not be in the stock market. I'll say it again. That money should not be in the stock market because you are dealing with these risks that very few people know about, especially those people that are working with investment-only advisors dealing with stock market-only investments. They're not talking about sequence risk. They have no plan to prepare for these types of risks. So we don't want to play around with the portion of our portfolios in which we need for income in the very near future. We need to know that that's secure, that it's safe, that it's available, that it's not going down when we need it for income. And so this is a concern for many people as they face RMDs, for people that are taking out RMDs this year, for people that do need income from their portfolios this year and in the very near future. So if you're listening right now and you are down 15, 20, 25, 30%, and you are actively taking income from your portfolio or will need to start doing that next year, or will need to start doing that in the very near future, like the next few years, we want to offer you a comprehensive retirement plan and retirement roadmap to show you how to avoid those risks and pitfalls, and to show you and give you a roadmap of how your retirement income will look, which accounts to pull from, what percentages to draw out, and all of those things. So if this sounds like you and you have these same similar concerns, just go to retirementkeyradio.com, click on the Contact Us tab at the top of the page, and we can begin to have these same conversations with you as well.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit retirementkeyradio.com. And join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays and Sundays at 2 p.m. on WMAL.
Investment advisory services offered through Abish Financial Wealth Management, LLC, number 310633, a registered investment advisor firm. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Abraham Abish is licensed in your state, please call 571-577-9968. Abish Financial Services is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Abraham Abish Inc., Virginia license number 131017.